Hi everyone, Carmen Broxma here with Choose Joy with Carmen, and in today's video is going to be showing you what I did to create my Craft Roulette card from episode number 122. And so it's kind of fun to see all this product here. I mean, it's fun to see how much I use to create this card, and sometimes I don't use a lot and sometimes I use a lot of stuff. And today we have a lot of stuff, and I want to just kind of run through that. But let's do that first, and then we'll talk about or maybe I'll talk about the parameters as I go. We'll see how it goes. But I'm going to use this designer paper right here that's out of this paper pack that is called A Wash and Beauty. And there's a lot of beautiful papers in here, but this is the one that I'm using today. And I like it because it coordinates really well with this one that I'm using. I'm going to be using this paper right here, and I thought it coordinated really nicely color-wise. So that's from the Happy Forest Friends. And again, it has a lot of fun patterns in here. But the one that we're using today is this one right here. And this was interesting because I was trying to create a scene, and I had to like kind of finagle around all this. That's why I have all these pieces left over. So that's what we're using there. And then the colors. So I guess I can kind of talk about the colors now for one of the parameters. The colors was coral and cool colors. And here's the Calypso coral that I'm using on part of the card. And the paper, let me bring that back in. So this has Calypso coral in it, and then it has greens and these little bitty dots of blue, which I think are cool colors. I had to go look up a color wheel, to make sure I was staying within the parameters. And this also has the Calypso coral, the blues and the greens, and then the neutrals. So I think I'm okay with meeting the parameters for the colors. And so I'm using also soft suede. I'm using Mossy Meadow, which is basically a little darker color of this green here. But the green was on, I don't know if you consider this warm green or cool green, but greens, in my opinion, was cool, and so that's why I went with it. And the soft suede I consider a neutral. So those are the ink pads that I used. And then the project had to be a 4x6, which was quite the challenge for me, because let me tell you, I never make 4x6 cards. So I had to really work on that one because of the way I wanted to design the card. Because the element also was a pocket. And I was like, oh, how am I going to do that? I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to do it with the dimensions. So it took me a while to kind of play with it, practicing with cardstock to finally come up with the correct dimensions. And then the random was miniature. So I'm using miniature butterflies, these little brass butterflies. You can consider that my miniature, or you can consider the sentiments that I'm using. I'm using the For You, and it comes from the Itty Bitty Greetings. So in my opinion, that's mini because it's itty bitty. So I think I'm using the For You out of this set. And then I'm using this Live Simply, Love Generously, Care Deeply, Speak Kindly, Leave the Rest to God. I'm using that from this Trust God stamp set. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about why I chose this. I'm so glad you are part of my story. That's going to be inside the card. But when I get to showing you the card, I'll tell you why I picked that sentiment. And then I'm using these dies right here. And really, I'm only using these little, I don't know what they're called. Like, you know how when you were in school and you punched a hole and you had those reinforcements so that the hole wouldn't tear. So that's basically what I'm using out of here. And then I used the stitch nested labels for my sentiment. So, okay, let's look at the card and let's step through what I decided. So here it is. And let me see if I can put my light on my phone. See if that gives it a little better look at the card. So what I wanted to do was with that paper, I kind of originally had put it underneath here, but then this was going to flap over this little pocket. Here's my pocket. And it was going to flap over and hide all this beautiful paper. And I says, well, what a waste of paper. So I went ahead and cut it out from underneath there and decided to place it here so that it would kind of be a continuation of that paper and I wouldn't be wasting it underneath there. So what the pocket holds is a bookmark. And here is my design of the bookmark. And I went ahead and laminated it because when I was putting it in and out of this little pocket, it was kind of pushing that out and I needed a little more sturdiness to really have the energy to put it in. So I guess if I did this again, I would do one of two things. I would either make the bookmark a little skinnier or make this fold over flap a little larger. But that little bookmark goes inside that pocket. And I just thought that is such a cute gift that you could give somebody. So then I have there was this design out of that paper and it was too cute. It was like a little log or whatever. And I wanted to put my itty bitty or mini sentiment in there. So that's, I die cut that out with those, with the stitch nested labels, and then another matted it with the Calypso coral. And then what I did was on the inside, I took little pieces of that designer paper and I just kind of cut around it so that I could have kind of like a little scene in there also. But here's the thing with why I chose that I'm so glad you're a part of my story. Because when you give this to somebody and they're going to be using this bookmark, what do they use a bookmark for, right? When they're reading a book. So the inside just fits perfectly. Because when you're reading a book, you're reading a story. So that's why I'm so glad you're a part of my story. I just thought that was so cute. So, and I have the little mini butterflies there. And I just think this turned out really nice. This 4x6 format really made it nice to have a pocket for a bookmark. And I think this would be a great gift. So I think I met all the parameters. We've got the pocket, the 4x6 size, the colors, coral and cool colors, and then the random miniature. You can take it for what you want, either the mini butterflies, the mini itty bitty sentiment on there, that little itty bitty bird, whatever you want to think about. So there you go. There is my card for Craft Roulette episode 122. I hope, oh, I didn't show you that. So that little part that I used in this set, that was these reinforcements here that I put on the front and back of when I did a punch that makes these corners and also puts a hole right there. But I wanted to make sure that that hole stayed sturdy, so that's why I used that out of there. So there's that. So I hope you like that, and I'm so thankful for all of you who follow me regularly. If you're new to my channel and this is the first card you've seen, if you want to subscribe, I greatly appreciate that a lot because that helps my channel a lot. And if you liked it, if you're a regular subscriber or new and you liked it, a thumbs up would also be greatly appreciated. All right, so there's episode 122. I'm looking forward to episode 123. See what the wheel throws at me and see what I can come up with. See you again next week. Bye bye, everyone.